finely ground sweet incense and bring it inside the veil. He shall put the incense on the fire before the Lord, that the cloud of the incense may cover the mercy seat that is on the ark of the testimony. Otherwise he will die. Moreover, he shall take some of the blood of the bull and sprinkle it with his finger on the mercy seat on the east side. Also in front of the mercy seat he shall sprinkle some of the blood with his finger 7 times. And last week we talked about why it is that the high priest had to make his offering first. Why do you think that the high priest would have to do this first? Go ahead, Katie.
He needs to be sin-free before he can do the sacrifice for the sins of the people.
Right. He has to do something about his own sin situation. Again, in order so that he might be cleansed of his sin, that he might be able to go and offer the sacrifice for the people. You're exactly correct. And at what point could the high priest enter into the most holy place? He had to take the blood of that bull that he had offered for himself and take it inside the tent. Now remember, there's basically 2 rooms inside the tent or the tabernacle. There's the holy place where the priest would go in, offer his incense. He would, as what was mentioned in Hebrews chapter 9, this is something that the priest would go to on a regular basis. But then, of course, there was another room, the most holy place. This was the place where what was kept? The Ark of the Covenant. Also with what? The mercy seat. The mercy seat on top of the Ark of the Covenant. But again, at what point could the high priest enter into that most holy place? What did he have to do first?
He had to dress appropriately.
You're right. He had to dress appropriately. We read about this in the first few verses 3 and 4. You're exactly right. But in these verses 11 through 14 in particular, when he entered into the holy place, what did he have to do before he went into the most holy place? That's right. That's right. He had to burn the incense. And at the burning of the incense, at what point could he enter into the most holy place? What about, what's that? Afterwards? That's right. That's right. He shall put the incense on the fire before the Lord, that the cloud of incense may cover the mercy seat that is on the ark of the testimony. Otherwise, he will die. What needs to happen inside that tent? Yes, the cloud of the incense. That's right, or the smoke of the incense.
To separate him from God.
What's that?
To separate him from God.
Maybe, or maybe as a covering, as the high priest presents himself before God. Katie?
It made me think about when Moses met God on the top of the mountain.
Yes.
It made Moses' face glow, but Moses was not able to look on God because he would die. So it made me think that this was to prevent the priest from seeing God.
Yes. Even Moses, when Moses was shown God, was he shown the full glory of God? No. He was shown. He was put in that rock cleft, and the covering of God, or God's hand, covered Moses as God went by. Moses was able to see the back, but not the front.
So was he to die if he saw God, or was he to die if he didn't do just exactly what God said to do?
Two things could be true at the same time. I don't know. All I know here is that verse 13 is that if the priest doesn't do exactly what God says to do here, he's gonna die. he shall put the incense on the fire before the Lord. Where does the fire for the incense come from? Remember, this chapter 16, who did it start off talking about? Nadab and Abihu, right? What happened with Nadab and Abihu from our study in Leviticus chapter 10? That's right. They were struck dead because they offered the wrong fire, the strange fire. Okay, God is specific on where He wants this fire to come from, and we had talked about it. I don't know whether or not Nadab and Abihu were told where to get this fire, and they just blatantly disobeyed. We're not given that in the text, or whether they got the fire from wherever they wanted to presumptuously, moving forward with God's worship, not concerning themselves, how God wants things done, not waiting on instruction. But here now we know specifically where this fire is supposed to come from. It is supposed to come from the coals of the altar of burnt offering. The fire, these coals from the offer of burnt offering, is to be taken into the tent by the high priest, offered at the altar of incense, which is inside the tabernacle, and then the incense is offered. The smoke of the incense fills the place, and then the priest can enter. But what must he take with him? That's right. That's right. And what was done with the blood of the sin offering? That's right. That's right. He shall take the blood of the bull and sprinkle it with his finger on the mercy seat, on the east side. Also in front of the mercy seat, he shall sprinkle some of the blood with his finger 7 times. Which direction would the tabernacle be facing, or the front end of the tabernacle? Does anybody remember? To the east, right? So if the priest is coming up to place the blood on the mercy seat, where is he placing it? On the front. Yeah, right? So that makes sense. He's to place it on the east side, not on the sides, not on the back, on the front. Sprinkle it with his finger on the mercy seat on the east side. Also in front of the mercy seat, he shall sprinkle some of the blood with his finger 7 times. Go ahead.
Is he getting that blood out of the censer? The censer being coals and blood?
No. Well, the censer is just a carrying device.
Yeah, but what's he carrying?
I don't know. Doesn't say.
The coals and the blood?
Well, he's gonna.
Because
Well, he's gonna.
he's sprinkling that.
Well, he can't enter into the most holy place until he offers the incense. But it also says that he's also to take a handful of incense with him as well.
2 handfuls.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
The
Two handfuls.
incense is in the censer also, isn't it?
Well, a censer would be like a
Bowl
Fire-
or
like a-
carry?
yeah like a fire pan.
But it has fire in it
Mhm.
and blood, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know how that would be. I don't know. I don't know. We're just not given that text.
Where he got the blood sprinkled.
What's that?
We don't know where, we know it's the blood of the bull, but how did he get it to sprinkle it?
How did he
Is
get
in
it?
the censer, or whatever that is. The censer that carries the coals
Yes.
and blood.
Well, in verse 12 it says he shall take a fire pan full of coals. Your translation might say censer, right? In verse 12. But that's exactly what that is. I mean that fire pan was just for that purpose. To carry the fire in the coals.
I think after he got the fire plan and the sense, he was able to free his hands and then get the blood. That's what I'm thinking, because he had 2 handfuls in the center and he put that in there, then it covered thing, and okay, let me go get the blood, so he got the blood.
Yeah. I mean, you would have to. I mean, you got it.
So the fire is in the censer,
That's correct.
and then he
no. He takes the fire from the censer, puts it on the altar of incense, and then offers the incense. Puts the incense on the fire that came from the altar of burnt offering. Okay, all right. Well, think about that. So we talked about what was done with the blood of the sin offering. And I think this is where we left off last week. Verse 15, then he shall slaughter the goat of the sin offering, which is for the people, and bring its blood inside the veil, and do with its blood as he did with the blood of the bull, and sprinkle it on the mercy seat and in front of the mercy seat. He shall make atonement for the holy place because of the impurities of the sons of Israel, and because of their transgression in regard to all their sins, and thus he shall do for the tent of meeting, which abides with them in the midst of their impurities. When he goes in and makes atonement in the holy place, no one shall be in the tent of meeting until he comes out, that he may make atonement for himself and for his household and for all the assembly of Israel. Then he shall go out to the altar that is before the Lord and make atonement for it, and he shall take some of the blood of the bull and of the blood of the goat and put it on the horns of the altar on all sides. With his finger he shall sprinkle some of the blood on it 7 times and cleanse it, and from the impurities of the sons of Israel to consecrate it. So what can you explain in very short detail what was the process for the sin offering of the people?
Well, first he had to sacrifice the goat, and then carry the blood into the inner curtain, and then he would sprinkle the blood over the atonement cover in front of it, just as he did with the bull's blood.
That's right. That's right. And also in these verses we have something about atonement for the tabernacle itself. Why does the tabernacle need atonement?
Because everything must be holy.
What's the verse say? What's the verse say? Well, in verse, what's that?
To cleanse it and consecrate it.
Yes, to cleanse it and to consecrate it. But in verse 16, he shall make atonement for the holy place. Why? Because of the impurities of what? The tabernacle itself? The sins of the people, right? The impurities of the sons of Israel. And because of their transgression in regard to all of their sin, and thus he shall do for the tent of meeting which abides with them in the midst of their impurities. Okay, so what is causing an issue with the tabernacle itself, that the tabernacle needs cleansing, or an inanimate object needing atonement? Brother Eric?
I think it's interesting. This is coming off the heels of the skin diseases portion of Leviticus, where it talks about if you sit on something or if you touch something, if you have leprosy, then that's unclean as well. So the sins of the children of Israel are causing everything around them to be unclean.
Yes, correct. Now again, this is not the tabernacle itself is sinful, but what this is going to show the sons of Israel is the infectious nature of sin, and how everything that sin comes in contact with makes it unclean in the sight of a pure God. So all of the things that are involved in God's worship, his holy place, must be given atonement, that is made ceremonially clean, in order so that God might be pleased with these offerings that are being offered up. So the priest makes atonement for the holy place, and he cleanses it So, of course, which goes into the subject matter of this scapegoat. We talked a little bit about this previously, but this is going to go in more detail concerning this the scapegoat. In verse 20, it says, "When he finishes atoning for the holy place and the tent of meeting and the altar, he shall offer the live goat. Then Aaron shall lay both of his hands on the head of the live goat and confess over all the iniquities of the sons of Israel, all their transgression in regard to all their sins. And he shall lay them on the head of the goat and send it away into the wilderness by the hand of a man who stands in readiness. The goat shall bear on itself all their iniquities to a solitary land, and he shall release the goat into the wilderness." Remember what the Israelites they had to bring for the people. This would be two goats for the sin offering. One goat is to be killed, the other one is to be kept alive. And this there's going to be something done with this live goat. This live goat, of course, is the scapegoat. And looking at these passages here, what do you think that the scapegoat would signify? I'm sorry, what?
Being like free, almost like from sin, maybe?
Yes. Yeah. What did the high priest do with this live goat? You're correct. You're right on the right path. What did the high priest do with this live goat? What's that? No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's right. In what way? In what way did that signify the transference of the sins of Israel onto this goat? The high priest would lay his hands on the head of this goat. Go ahead.
Takes away their guilt.
That's right.
The first one takes away their sin when it's sacrificed. And the second one is turned loose with all their iniquities on it to take away their guilt.
Okay. If this sin offering, the offering of the two goats, one is by the shedding of the blood, the sin being put on the live goat and being sent out from among the people. Remember, also, when the priest lays his hand on the scapegoat, we talked about scapegoat last week and what a scapegoat meant. That means kind of pinning the wrongdoings on an innocent party.
Innocent.
That's right.
I see Christ there as a sacrifice.
Yes. As a sacrifice, and also the one that carries our sins away from us. There's also a certain individual in the ready. And what is his job to do?
They carry the goat out
Far away.
to the wilderness.
To carry the goat out into the wilderness. Where is the wilderness?
In the
Way out there. This guy, his job is to take the scapegoat, take it out there, and this is not just, as I mentioned last week, just taking the goat out to the door of the camp and smacking it, and hopefully it runs off. This guy,
Sure that it was way out.
that's right. It is way.
Purpose to make sure.
The whole idea is to signify that God is taking the sins of the people and removing it away from them. It's not going to be a situation where the Israelites are going to wake up one morning and they're going to come out of their tent and find the goat back, right? Where he's supposed to represent the one that is carrying the sins away from the king. He can't come back. In fact, we're going to read as we continue this chapter that there is there's also a ritual for that individual that takes the goat away. Why? Because just as sin, just sort of like with the cleansing of the tabernacle, anything that sin comes in contact with, it needs that ceremonial cleansing. This individual that takes the goat away, he can't just immediately go back into their number. He needs a cleansing as well.
Is our baptism a ceremonial cleansing?
Oh, is it? Are we? Does the New Testament talk about a baptism as being a washing for us, as being that is cleansing for us? I think Ephesians chapter 5 in particular talks about Christians being washed with pure water. There is a cleansing there. There's a washing that takes away our sins.
A spiritual.
Cleanses. What's that?
A spiritual.
Yeah. Or Saul was told by Ananias. He said, "Why do you wait? Rise and be baptized, washing away your sins." Okay, so we got the scapegoat, some concluding sacrifices here. Then Aaron shall come into the tent of meeting and take off the linen garments which he put on, which he went into the holy place, and he shall leave them there. He shall bathe his body with water in a holy place and put on his clothes and come forth and offer his burnt offerings and the burnt offering of the people and make atonement for himself and the people. Okay, so we talked about how the high priest and the people, they are to bring a sin offering, but they're also to bring the burnt offering too. But before they offer the burnt offering, they need to take care of their sin offering. And all this has up to this point has been done. The scapegoat has been sent away. Then Aaron shall come into the tent of meeting and take off the linen garments which he put on when he went into the holy place and leave them there. He shall bathe his body with water in a holy place. Where this holy place is, we're not told specifically. Presumably, it's somewhere that is allocated in the court of the tabernacle. Maybe even using the water from the laver, the water basin that is before the tent of meeting. I lost some place. Yep. Okay. So he shall come forth, or excuse me, into a holy place and put on his clothes. Presumably, this is going to be the clothing of the high priest. We remember we talked about in the previous chapter why it is that the high priest doesn't have on his ornate uniform. We got the tunic with the breastplate with all of the stones in the breastplate, all the turban with the gold plate on the turban, which says, "Thank you." And before he was able to don these things, he had to wear, I guess the more humble set of clothing. This would be just the linen garments. So he had to take them off, wash his body with water in the holy place, come forth and offer his burnt offering and the burnt offering of the people and make atonement for himself and for the people. Then he shall offer up in smoke the fat of the sin offering on the altar. The one who released the goat as the scapegoat shall wash his clothes and bathe his body with water. Then afterwards he shall come into the camp. But the bull of the sin offering and the goat of the sin offering, whose blood was brought in to make atonement in the holy place, shall be taken outside the camp. And they shall burn their hides, their flesh, and their refuse in the fire. Then the one who burns them shall wash his clothes and bathe his body with water. Then afterwards he shall come into the camp. We had talked about this previous when we talked about the subject of the sin offering. Quick quiz. Can anybody go through the 5 main offerings for the Israelites? Sister Katie says she can do it.
That's why I laugh, because I don't know.
Yes, you do.
Okay, the sin offering,
Mhm.
the burnt offering, the grain offering, the peace offering,
The guilt offering, yes. Now remember concerning the sin offering, the offering that was brought by the individual was offered up, and what was done with the meat of that animal? It was given to the priest, given to the priesthood. However, the priests that offer for themselves the sin offering, what was to be done with that carcass? Taken out and burned. Now on this day, the sin offering for the entirety of the nation of Israel, for the priest, this sin offering is not to be offered up like the burnt offering. This sin offering is to be taken outside of the camp. Again, just like with the individual with the scapegoat, he couldn't come back into the assembly, into the population until he was cleansed. What about the individual that takes the carcass outside the camp to go burn it? Same thing. So in these sacrifices here that we can read, what did the priest have to do before resuming his sacrificial work?
He must leave his clothes there, put on his regular garments. Well, first he was bathed.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to bathe himself in water in a sacred holy place.
That's right.
Put on his regular garments, and I think you said his high priest, weren't they consecrated?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Those garments, so that makes sense why he couldn't
Yeah.
wear them for the bathe. And then he goes out to sacrifice the burnt offering for himself and the burnt
Yes.
offering for the people.
That's right. And we also talked about this. What was done with the sin offerings?
Burned completely outside.
Yes. It was taken outside the camp and burned there. We talked about these washings. What is the significance of these washings? We have the individual, or you have the priest that offers up his sin offering. He is going to offer up the sin offering for the people. Now he's going to offer up the burnt offering. Before he does that, he needs to wash. Okay, the guy that takes out the scapegoat, before he comes back in, he has to wash. The guy that takes the carcass of the sin offering outside the camp to go and burn it, he has to wash. What is the significance of these washings?
Cleansing of sin.
Yeah. Do you think that has some sort of significance for the Christian today? All right. And wrapping up, in verse 29, this shall be a permanent statute for you. In the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, you shall humble your souls and not do any work, whether the native or the alien who sojourns among you. For it is on this day that the atonement shall be made for you to cleanse you. It will be clean, you will be clean from all your sins before the Lord. It is to be a Sabbath of solemn rest for you, that you may humble your souls. It is a permanent statute. So the priest who is anointed and ordained to serve as priest in his father's place shall make atonement. He shall thus put on the linen garments, the holy garments, and make atonement for the holy sanctuary. And he shall make atonement for the tent of meeting and for the altar. He also make atonement for the priests and for all the people of the assembly. And now you shall have this as a permanent statute to make atonement for the sons of Israel for all their sins once every year. And just as the Lord had commanded Moses, so he did. When was this day observed, and how often is it observed?
Annually, the 7th month, the 10th day.
Okay, the 10th day of the 7th month. When is that?
In our calendar, I know what it is.
Yeah, in our calendar we know what it is. On the
October.
yes, that's right. That's right. From about the middle of September to the middle of October. I listened to a radio show, and the guy that runs the radio show, he's an Orthodox Jew, and during that month, it seems like half the time during that month, he's out. He's not doing his show, right? Because the Jews are in observance of a lot of things during that period. which is this high holy day of Yom Kippur. We might be familiar with Yom Kippur. In Hebrew, that means the Day of Atonement. This is exactly what we're talking about here. I don't know that much about modern day Judaism. We have the statutes on what God expects the Israelites to do on this day. The sacrifices that is to be offered. I'm not aware of what modern day Jews do on this day in lieu of what God has prescribed for. What's that?
They're still passing it down, all of these things, we don't know.
So there was a word that had come up a couple of times in these verses here, and that word is going to be related to humility. Humble your souls. On this day, you will humble your souls. Why do you think humility is an important aspect of this day?
Respect for the Lord.
Respect for the Lord.
Especially what he did, provided atonement, and is the same for us.
Yeah.
So humbling yourself is a huge part of honoring his actions and the character that he holds.
One moment you need to know your role and know,
Sure.
and understand,
And to realize your significantly very little and dependent upon God.
During this day, what is happening concerning their sin?
Well, they're purifying themselves so they can be in the presence of God. So that they are, because he is holy, that they must be. So all of those things fall in line. And that is just to be in his presence, so that he could be there with them. That was the whole purpose.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts on why this why humility would be an important aspect of this day?
Realize that God is holy.
What's that?
Realize that God is holy.
Realize that God is holy,
And you are
being made holy.
holy also.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And also being made holy, being cleansed from sin. Wendy?
We can't do this ourselves. We had to, just like them, we have to have an atonement. We have to have someone atone for us. We are not capable of forgiving our own sins and providing what is needed.
Okay. Being provided for what's
Right,
needed.
so we don't
The blood of these bulls and goats, right? Hebrews chapter 10. Hebrews chapter 10. I want us to try to square this circle here. Hebrews chapter 10 tells us what concerning the blood of bulls and goats?
Oh, see, I read that this morning.
I know, right?
Hebrews 1 through 18, I think.
Okay, all right. I'm glad you brought that. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 10. Let's talk about this. Hebrews chapter 10 tells us that for the law, since it has only a shadow of the good things to come and not of the very form of things, which can never, by the same sacrifices which they offer continually year by year, make perfect those who draw near. Hebrews chapter 10, as we talked about in Hebrews chapter 9, what we're talking about in Leviticus chapter 16, this is the subject matter. This is the subject matter. Otherwise, they would not have ceased to be offered, because the worshiper, having once been cleansed, would no longer have had the consciousness of sins. But in those sacrifices, there is a reminder of the sins year by year. For it is impossible for the blood of bulls and goats to take away sins. Therefore, when he comes into the world, he says, sacrifice and offering you have not desired, but a body you have prepared for me. In whole burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin you have taken no pleasure. Then I said, Behold, I have come. In the scroll of the book it is written of me to do your will, O God. After saying above, sacrifices and offerings and whole burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin you have not desired, nor have you taken pleasure in them. Now wait a minute. If Hebrews chapter 10 is saying that sacrifices, offering, whole burnt offerings, you have not desired, why is God telling the Israelites to do these things?
Well, wasn't it a temporary priesthood until Jesus was established?
That's right. That's right.
And that was
We're talking about
during that time,
temporary.
God needed them to be holy so that He could be there with them. So all of these things were put in place just so God could be there with them. They were the chosen children of God.
Okay. Which are offered according to the law. Then he said, Behold, I have come to do your will. He takes away the first in order to establish the second. And by this we will have been sanctified through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ once for all. Right? So the blood of Christ, which is the blood that can take away sin. Continuing verse 11, every priest stands daily ministering and offering time after time the same sacrifices which can never take away sins. But he, having offered one sacrifice for sins for all time, sat down at the right hand of God, waiting from that time onward until his enemies be made a footstool for his feet. For by one offering he has perfected for all time those who were sanctified. Right? Those who were sanctified, those who were made holy. Right? This is the subject matter. You know, chapters 11 through 16, or 11 through 16, chapters 1 through 16 is going to be on the subject of attaining holiness. As we get into chapter 17 through the end of Leviticus, we're going to talk about a different chapter. That is living holy. We got attaining holiness and living as a holy people provided to us here in the book of Leviticus. But the offering of Jesus perfected for all time those who were made holy. When? How were the people sanctified? Through the offerings and the sacrifices. These things that are being talked about here. Go ahead.
And also, the people, when they sacrificed, it became a routine. It was like they took their hearts out of it, and they were just sacrificing. So that was one of the reasons also he said he hadn't desired this, because they're giving all these bulls, but their heart wasn't, their obedience wasn't there. Too. Just like with Saul, and Saul was sacrificing, and when Samuel had to tell him, and then I think it's somewhere in Habakkuk or Hosea, I don't know scripture.
Yes, you do.
No, I'm saying I don't know like the book, chapter, verse, where it was saying that God didn't desire all these sacrifices, and they weren't being obedient, and then they were sacrificing lame things.
Oh, yes.
That was the book of
Yeah.
Malachi.
Okay,
That was
yeah.
the book of Malachi.
Yes, that's Malachi. You're exactly right. Yes, very good.
Well, and the high priest Eli, his son, remember when his sons were going in and just picking a fork and just pulling
They were treating God's sacrifices as something that is common.
Competition made them careless, though.
Yeah.
Just like she said, they left their heart out.
They did.
Yeah.
They just started defiling it all over the place.
Now, so if the blood of bulls and goats, those don't take away sin, but the Israelites, they were made holy, they were sanctified because they were being obedient to what God says to do. This is what made them holy. This is what made them sanctified. However, why is humility an important aspect of this day? Hebrews chapter 10, verse 3. But in those sacrifices there is what? A reminder of sins. Year after year. Again, going back to this attitude concerning the sacrifice. These people need to remember that this is why it is that they are to humble their souls, to not do any work. It is a Sabbath day. Why do you think that God is excluding any sort of work on this day?
He wants to be worshipped.
Yes, he's going and obediently. Moreover, how many of us get distracted by our day-to-day obligations and our work and the things that we have to do? And let me tell you, when I'm at work and I'm thinking about electronics, I'm not thinking about sacrifices. I'm not thinking about my sins. I'm not thinking about all those other things. God is setting this special day aside, an opportunity for the Israelites to reflect on the things that they have committed against God. That, as Hebrews chapter 10 said, even though the blood of the bulls and goats, they don't take away sin, these things serve as a reminder for the sins. How the Israelites reminded. Animals died, right? They were slaughtered. You had the slaughter of these animals who didn't do anything. And they were being killed. Why? Because of their sins, right? You got this the scapegoat that's carrying the sins of the people carried out into the wilderness, presumably just to die out there, right? You got a goat. It's a domesticated animal. He's being sent out into the wilderness, presumably to die there. The Israelites need to be reminded of these things. I'm sorry, Sister Janice, go ahead.
I'm wondering about this humble your souls. Was that, and I don't know if you know, did that include eating on that day also?
Presumably, this Sabbath day is going to carry the same regulations that a weekly Sabbath would carry. In that they were going to have to make preparations beforehand for that day, because again the idea is that they are to not do any work. It is a Sabbath of rest, right? But not just a Sabbath of any rest; it's a Sabbath of solemn rest. When you're thinking about things of solemnity, what are you doing? You're being respectful. You're using it as a day of reflection, as a day of remembrance. What did the Israelites do? How is it that God is making it, is providing a way for them to attain holiness? Not that they're able to see what God has in store for them in the future through Jesus Christ, but as long as the Israelites were being obedient, faithful to God's law, and being sanctified and being made holy, guess what the blood of Jesus does? Not only covers us, it covers them too. Retroactively. Retroactive covering. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Just to wrap up, we'll just wrap up this chapter. Who did these duties get passed on to? From generation to generation. In Hebrews chapter 10, it talks about the law, the sacrifices, offering continually year after year. Obviously, at some point, the high priest is going to die. Who did that obligation get passed off to? That's right. Very good.